Welcome back to Foot in Mouth. It's Carabao Cup week, the fourth round of the Carabao Cup. After this, it's the quarterfinals, meaning we are very much in the business end of things. And there are some big games that we can look forward to, especially tomorrow night. Got Newcastle versus Spurs, but you also have that grudge match between Liverpool and Crystal Palace, this time at Anfield. And we've seen enough games between those two to know that they don't disappoint. And look, the winner of this competition, it's essentially going to boil down to that same old question: who wants it more? More often than not, we see the bigger Premier League sides, they are quite disinterested in this tournament. I mean, there's not very much prize money involved. It's not a major trophy. There's no European place up for grabs. So stands the reason that they wouldn't take it as seriously as other clubs do. I still think that in an era of where it's so difficult to win any silverware, I think trophies like the Carabao Cup are getting a little bit more relevant, and I'm happy to see it. I've always believed that if there's a trophy to be won, you should play to win it. That's what I always expect. This is a really good opportunity for the best of the rest to get their hands on a trophy. We know that they're not going to push for Premier League titles. We always know the who's when it comes to that debate every season. So for clubs like Newcastle, who won it last season, ended a 70-year trophy drought, for clubs like Newcastle, this competition holds a lot of weight. And for clubs like Crystal Palace, last season winning the FA Cup, that was their first major trophy. They will take whatever silverware they can get. I think there's an even bigger narrative behind, if Crystal Palace win this, could they even convince Mark Guehi to stay? Three trophies technically in 2 seasons, because I do count the Community Shield. That may be exactly what Crystal Palace need in order to facilitate Mark Guehi signing on for an extended deal at Crystal Palace. And considering the way things are going at Liverpool, maybe he won't even want that move come January anymore. But it's going to come down to who wants it more. I'm just saying that I think this competition, despite its flaws, there is a lot of reason to kind of stay in it. We've seen Manchester City use this as the overall stepping stone towards winning trophy after, like, league title after league title. Man City always take this competition seriously. I think Pep Guardiola does have a big affinity towards it. We've also seen clubs like, Chelsea, also Arsenal to be fair, clubs that have big squad sizes where you need minutes for a lot of these players. Competitions like the Carabao Cup, this is the best chance for them to get those minutes. 38 games in a Premier League season is a lot. You need everybody to be as fit and ready as possible at all times. So competitions like the Carabao Cup, that's where they come in handy. I think even if you aren't in it to win it overall, which you shouldn't be, but the further you go, it's always more opportunities for the squad players to show and impress. It's opportunity for injured players to return to fitness, to match fitness as well. So I think that there are a lot of benefits. Speaking of Chelsea, they are on course to do a hat-trick of minor cups, if we think about it, because last season they did the Conference League, and then they did the Club World Cup in the off-season. If they do the Carabao Cup now, they've done all three, and maybe that buys Enzo Maresca a little bit more time. Maybe it eases the pressure at the club. Let me know if you think that could be the case. But yeah, who needs it more? I'm looking at the table now in the Premier League, and I'm thinking to myself, someone like Newcastle, all due respect, I know that this competition probably means a lot to them. I don't think they need the distraction. They have enough problems on their hands. They are struggling in the Premier League. They're doing okay in the Champions League. I don't think they'll want to jeopardize their league form and their league standing for another Carabao Cup. Spurs, last season they won the Europa League, so they ended their trophy drought. I think that Thomas Frank, especially after the win against Everton, he's starting to find some real momentum in the Premier League now. In the Champions League, they're doing okay. They're kind of coping, but I don't think that the League Cup is anything worth jeopardizing your Premier League form or your Champions League form over either. So I think decisions like that are going to come into play. Another club that might not need the distraction is Liverpool, and they definitely, I think, have the biggest game on the cards here, all due respect to Newcastle and Spurs. I think Liverpool versus Crystal Palace has proven to be a serious grudge match of late, and this is going to be another installment. The fact that it's at Anfield, that's a big advantage for Liverpool. I think Liverpool also have the numbers advantage, at least in the attacking department. They can rotate a lot more than Crystal Palace can, but Crystal Palace, they're definitely going to want it more. A competition like this is exactly the type of competition that a club like Crystal Palace will push for every single season. Winning a League Cup would be a massive deal for them. Beating Liverpool along the way only would make it sweeter. Liverpool play Aston Villa in the Prem this week, and Crystal Palace playing Brentford at home. So both sides, both at home, but I think Liverpool more need to rotate. To be honest, I think that the most reason to rotate for Liverpool is just current form of players in their team. I think it's absolutely time for Alexander Isak to step up. He's got to start tonight. I think Mohamedashvili in goal needs to put in a good performance, because becoming the first Liverpool player since Alexander Isak to lose your first 3 games as a Liverpool player, not exactly a good run of results. He needs to improve in goal. I don't think they have a choice other than to start Virgil van Dijk tonight, but I also think Virgil van Dijk is going to get a lesson in defending and leadership from Mark Guehi. Could Chiesa get a start? I think that it's well warranted for him to start a game or two, and this is a good opportunity for him to do that. So yeah, I think that Liverpool definitely have some decisions to be made, but however they line up, I do have to say that I just have a feeling Crystal Palace's determination is going to trump the home advantage. I think Crystal Palace are going to end up winning this one, and it's going to be another sting to Arne Slot, who does need to turn things around, but more so in the Premier League. And that's why I think a lot of the result and the performance is going to be based around Liverpool's need to focus on the Premier League. Like I said, they're playing Villa this weekend. Villa coming into this game off the back of beating both Spurs and Manchester City, so confidence is high that side. They're not going to be scared of Liverpool in the current form they're in. I wouldn't blame Liverpool for having half a mind on this weekend's fixture. So yeah, I think it's all going to culminate into a Crystal Palace win. Let me know in the comments what you think predictions-wise for this game. Talk about clubs that need to win this tournament. Arsenal definitely need to. I know they need major trophies more than anything, but at the same time, we can't really turn our nose up at a Carabao Cup. We're going on 6 years without a trophy, so I will take what I can get. And also, I think Arsenal could do with whatever juju Man City always get when they do win this mid-season. We are very much leading the way in the title race, and winning the Carabao Cup halfway through the domestic season could be the exact pick-me-up that Arsenal need to Spurs on to actually finally get over the line. You know, we are favourites for the Premier League and the Champions League, so if winning the Carabao Cup helps with either of those, I'm a happy man. But at the same time, Arsenal only have 2 League Cups overall, which I'm very surprised by, to be honest. The last time we won this, it was still called the League Cup. I think it was 92-93 season. I think on that basis alone, Arsenal are probably due a Carabao Cup at this point. So yeah, I think Arsenal definitely need to win this on that basis. I think we also need to win it. Even if we don't win it, we need to go as far as possible for the sake of rotation. Like I mentioned earlier in the episode, Arsenal have a lot of squad players, quality squad players that need minutes. And again, minutes are very hard to come by in the Premier League, especially once you have a team that's in a groove. It's very hard for a manager to work a new player into it because your system, don't mess with the system that's working. You know, just ask Nottingham Forest. It is important for Arsenal to stay competitive here. And to be honest, I'm expecting a lot of rotation from Mikel Arteta, from front to back, you know, from striker to goalkeeper. Victor Gyökeres has played a ton of minutes lately. I think that he definitely could do with the rest here. It's a good opportunity for Mikel Merino to put in another masterclass at striker. Someone like Ethan Nwaneri could get a start here. One that I think is, again, very warranted, overdue maybe. We've seen very little of him this season, which is very surprising for a lot of Arsenal fans. And I think there's also a very good chance that we could actually see him line up alongside Miles Lewis-Skelly in midfield. He is a natural central midfielder. He's been filling in at left back, and he's been doing really well there. So it's good and well to know that he can play at left back, but I really want to see him play in his natural position for a change. I think that also opens up the door for Nketiah to get his full 90-minute starting debut for Arsenal. Calafiori came off injured recently, so I think he could do with the rest here. Playing Nketiah has been eased into the first team, making cameos from off the bench so far. So far, so good in that department. So I think this is a good game for him to get a start. And I think that Mosquera should probably continue in that back line. He replaced William Saliba against Crystal Palace. We don't even feel the quality drop when Mosquera falls in. That's the best part about Arsenal's depth right now. And then at right back, give Ben White some minutes because he definitely could use some. I think Bukayo Saka, he's probably going to start. Knowing Mikel Arteta, he's going to start 1 or 2 of these first team regulars. But I think even he can't deny that a majority of them need a break. Gabriel Martinelli also had a little bit of an injury scare lately, so you'll probably see Trossard starting. But on that right wing, what they're going to do? You know, Max Dowman, I'm sure, will be in contention to play. But yeah, I can't see Arteta not starting Bukayo Saka. Brighton are a team that you have to respect. The last 2 times we played against him has been 2 draws. Both times they came back from 1-0 down to make it 1-1. So bit of a tricky fixture for Arsenal, but I think that we could do it. We should do it. We should do it, no matter how we line up. And I'm expecting an Arsenal win here. I'm not expecting a clean sheet, though, because I do think Kepa is going to be in goal. And no disrespect to Kepa, no disrespect to our current backline either. But I think Brighton are going to come into this game with a little bit more fight than Arsenal, just because this competition will inherently mean a lot more to them. And yeah, I think they'll get a goal, but I think Arsenal will win this one 3-1. Ethan Nwaneri, if he does get a start, he's going to make something happen, whether it's a goal or assist, probably even both. I think that it's going to be a good game. Tomorrow night's looking like a Premier League day of football, to be honest. Everybody that's playing against each other, bar Man City and Swansea, it's all Premier League sides involved. So yeah, let me know your predictions for Arsenal versus Brighton. Moving on to Newcastle versus Spurs, though. Big game. These are 2 clubs that both very recently ended trophy droughts. So they'll both want to add to their trophy haul as soon as possible. But I think, again, both of these clubs don't really need the distraction right now. Newcastle need to do everything they can to stay in the top half of the Premier League at the very least, because so far things are not going according to plan. They will be pressed to rest some players as well, but they don't have the luxury of squad depth at this present time. Neither do Spurs. Tough decision making for both sides. You could see a lot of youth players. If I was either of them, I'm not going to lie, I'm not putting a lot of focus on the Carabao Cup this time around. I'm going to try and steady that ship in the Premier League. But this is a game where I think home advantage is going to carry them over the line. I think Newcastle are going to edge it. I think that they are going to rotate where they can. This one probably goes into extra time, if we're being honest. Maybe even on penalties, Newcastle win this. But I do think that at the end of the day, Newcastle will come out of this game as 2-1 winners. Could be Spurs. Like I said, Spurs have a lot to play for in this competition as well. They aren't flush with trophies. Thomas Frank could do with a trophy in his debut season. I just don't think that with the numbers available, I don't think that it's worth jeopardizing your Premier League run or your Champions League run. So yeah, I think all the factors are going to come down to home advantage taking precedent here. And Newcastle at St. James Park, whether they have something to play for or not, that's a tough game. So I think, yes, Spurs had some joy against Everton away. Newcastle are not Everton. I think it is as simple as that, especially at St. James Park. And I think that Newcastle are going to win this one. Let me know what you think. And then the last of the Premier League versus Premier League clashes that we are getting is Wolves at home to Chelsea. Wolves, I said in the last episode, they can't buy a win at the moment. Chelsea are going to rotate, as they should, and they are coming off the back of a loss against Sunderland, so they'll want to win more as a pick-me-up rather than to, win this tournament. Although, like I said, they are on course for a hat-trick, so maybe this means a lot more to Enzo Maresca than I think at this moment. A win in this tournament could absolutely ease pressure on them. A win in this game, I don't think it does very much in the grand scheme of things. They've dropped points in the Premier League, so they may also not want the Carabao Cup distraction, to be honest. I do think that they've got the depth available to carry them over into the quarterfinals. And I think once they're in the quarterfinals, then you will see all the clubs that make it that far start to take it a lot more seriously. Because like I said, trophies are hard to come by. And when you make it to the quarterfinals, you pretty much have no excuse at that point but to take it seriously. You're in the final stretch. So yeah, I think in this game, all due respect to Wolves, they have been shambolic this season, regardless of who they're playing, where they're playing, what competition they're playing in. I think this is a Chelsea win, and I think Chelsea are going to win this honestly pretty comfortably. I say 3-1 Chelsea. Swansea at home versus Manchester City. This is one of those short and sweet predictions. It should be an easy win for Manchester City, let's be real. We've seen Grimsby cause some serious upsets in this competition, so maybe there's opportunity for that here, but I don't see it happening. Manchester City are Manchester City, so I can't help side towards them, and I'm going to go with the Man City win here. And sticking with Grimsby, can the run continue? They're playing Brentford at home this time. Grimsby obviously famously beating Manchester United early in the competition. I think everybody is rooting for them low-key, so I would be excited to see them get past Brentford. It would also make the competition a little bit more easier going forward into the quarterfinals if there was one less Premier League club to play against. But yeah, Grimsby versus Brentford, can they do it again? I think it's going to be all eyes on that game. I'm actually going to back Grimsby for this one. I can't lie. I think Brentford did get a massive win against Liverpool, but like I always say on this show, wins like that takes a lot out of the players mentally, takes a lot out of them physically. So I think that they may still be a little bit hungover on celebrations from that win, and Grimsby could take advantage of. Wycombe versus Fulham. This should be a Fulham win in all honesty, but yeah, I think this is one of those anybody's guess games. Could see a serious upset here. I think there's a lot of opportunity for an upset here, but if we're just being frank about it, on paper, Fulham should win this one. And then Wrexham versus Cardiff. Yeah, you choose, bro. I'm only backing Wrexham just because of the Ryan Reynolds factor. They have been on a solid run of promotions, but it doesn't look like they're going to get into the Premier League as quick as they would have hoped, considering the run they were on, back-to-back promotions. But so far, sitting around the mid-table of the championship. But either way, still an exciting project, and I do want to see them on the biggest stage of them all at some point. But yeah, I think in this game, yeah, I'll give it to Wrexham for this. They'll beat Cardiff. Let me know your predictions. Thank you as always for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, do leave it a like. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more content. I'll catch you in the next one.